I am delighted to thank the members of the European Union Parliament, all of the people who have been calling for justice across Europe, and most importantly, the ECI coming together at this very important time to make sure that we take a step forward for humanity in the face of something that we need to put in a historical context. Most of you forget, but in August of 2000, the United States Food and Drug Administration approved Bayer's ciprofloxacin drug for inhalation anthrax, a full year before anthrax was released by the Department of Defense in the United States, ultimately harming and killing people and creating a demand for a drug that 1 year earlier had been approved for a condition that had never been seen on Earth. We had not had inhalation anthrax, but the FDA approved it a year in advance. And 4 years later, 4 years after the U.S. Department of Defense released anthrax into the U.S. population, we passed the PrEP Act, which was the suspension of civil liberties and the suspension of constitutional rights in the United States in the case of a declared pandemic or an emergency authorization. Please, Europeans, please, global citizens, listen carefully to what I'm saying. The reason why we unleashed this thing called coronavirus was so that we could get to a place where the public would be willing to accept the suspension of civil liberties. As clearly articulated in the Charter of Fundamental Rights for the European Union, Article 3, Section 2A, we know that there is a requirement in Europe that says that under the preservation of bodily integrity, every person has the right to full informed consent. This born, ladies and gentlemen, out of the Nuremberg proceedings in 1945, this critical condition, which is a fundamental human right, is now being sought to be vacated by the same power grab that was done between 2001 and 2005 in the United States. Let me be abundantly clear. The ECI initiative is so critical because had U.S. citizens stood up in 2002, 3, and 4, we would have been able to block the conditions that gave rise to the current pandemic. There would have been no emergency use. There would have been no compulsory medical countermeasure, and there would have been no reason for a pandemic to unleash terror across the population had we taken our voices seriously then. This is now your time. Stand with your members of parliament, stand with your fellow citizens, and make it abundantly clear that the World Health Organization will not have the authority to create the suspension of fundamental human rights now or ever, because the moment they take that power in their hands, they will abuse it no different from what we saw after the PrEP Act. We had this experience before. Our job is to learn from that experience and make it abundantly clear that as Bayer was the profiteer in 2001, and as Pfizer is the profiteer in 2022 and 2023, we cannot allow our rights to be suspended so that individual corporations and the governments that they patronize can be enriched at the expense of liberty. Stand together with me and with all of your colleagues and make it abundantly clear that this time we will not give a single ounce of effort against anything other than the total and 100% preservation of liberty. That is our cause. That is why we're here. And that is why I am honored to stand with you. Thank you.